Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, every time we get an opportunity to do the solo thing, it's always somebody special that we have here on the Ed Block podcast. I'm here with Wally. This is Wally Williams here. And today we're joined by, look, Mr. Football, Mr. Running Back, Mr. Ohio State, Mr. Heisman, uh, Eddie George. Eddie George, thank you. Thank you for joining us, Eddie, man. I
Hey
appreciate
man,
it, man. I appreciate it.
glad to be here, Wally. It is a pleasure. Always enjoyed the Ed Block Courage Award. It's a great deal. Went there a few years ago for the ceremony, and it's got first class personified. Such a great honor to be associated with this great organization. So it's my pleasure.
And see, and the reason why I asked you before we came on is like, man, how much time do you have? Look, you a guy who has an eclectic kind of development process here. Okay, you're not just you are a renaissance man in football right now who is spread in many different places and had many different
Yeah.
experiences. So I want to get off football right now because that's easy to talk about. That's easy to talk about.
Okay.
But talk about that transition. Okay, the transition we all go through when we leave this game. Okay, because you went
hmm
into a totally different element. Okay,
hmm
totally different. So talk about that transition and talk about why, for the fans out there who don't know, that you got into some acting and some other things
Yeah.
going on
Yeah.
here. So talk about that.
Well, after I finished playing, I wanted to see what was next, and it was not easy. Trying to find your next thing, your next purpose. Um, the same feeling that you got playing the game of football. That was a process, and it took for me to go through depression state, anger. It's all of the things that are associated with losing a loved one, because in essence you're saying goodbye is the death of your football life,
Yes.
and then it opens up a landscape of wonderful opportunities, but it can be daunting and intimidating if you don't know what that is, and it's okay if you don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important thing for me was to surround myself with people that I admired, that have gone through it, just trying to find out, well, damn, is it in the business world, is it in acting, is it as a commentator, is it a coach? I don't know. I'm trying to find out what's that next purpose in me, and that took some time to be developed. It took time to go into different areas of different careers, like as an actor, as a business person. I went back and got my master's in business. um I also studied to become an actor because I was hoping that would help out with my television career. And it led me down a path of storytelling and being on stage and doing different productions here in Nashville and abroad. You know, and it just prepared me and developed in me, uh, a way of communicating and also listening that allows me to be a head coach now. So all of that I went through, my transition from football to what I'm doing now as a head coach, had prepared me in every area. So, I put myself I'm sorry if I'm segueing into different areas, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I put myself in difficult situations and uncomfortable situations so I could grow. You
It's
know,
on the way
um,
to grow, right?
right.
Yeah, right.
Like when I went and got my master's in business,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to go online. I didn't want to go to no disrespect to other universities, to a local community college. I wanted to go to the best. I wanted to go to Harvard, Wharton, Kellogg, and I applied to all three, and I was able to go to Kellogg. And at Kellogg, in 2000, 2008, 9, 10, um, it was very difficult, to come from playing football into the world of business and to understand, finance, and to understand entrepreneurship, because I was getting into a lot of those deals, and I just didn't understand, what I was looking at, what to look for, what are the opportunities, what are the questions I need to ask.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I put myself in those situations. Say, hey, instead of me taking this to another business person for them to interpret it to me, if you read it back to me in layman's terms, I'm going to go understand it myself. So that's what I did. And then it was, hey, if I'm going to jump into acting, I'm going to jump in. and learn the art of acting. And I got with the acting coach, and I sat with her for 7 years prior to jumping on stage. And finally, I jumped on stage and failed miserably. We got all my lines, but I was able to come back and to overcome that fear, and went on to perform on Broadway. Singing and dancing, doing all that stuff. It's completely out of my comfort zone.
Right.
And so everything that I've done, I'm talking. I don't want to get too into the weeds with it because we'll be here all day.
Right.
But the transition was tough. It was daunting, but it was necessary. I was built for that. I had to go through that. And my advice to anybody that's going to go through that, because you will, is to attach yourself to things that are constructive, not destructive. Attach yourself to your faith, to your family, towards finding that purpose. Finding that purpose is a hidden treasure only found in God. So that's what I really had to go deep into, was my spiritual development, to find out, man, what am I here to do next? Because I wasn't just here to run a football and die. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's much
Yes.
more than that. And you have to explore that. Some people are complacent or comfortable with saying, hey, you know what? I played the game. Let me live off of my football life for the rest of my life. And that's fine. But you got to have the courage to jump out there, and when there is no life jacket. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
There
yeah.
is no there is no there is no lighthouse to guide you, but you're being guided by faith, and you're relying on that tenacity, that discipline, that focus, everything that you worked on in football to help guide you through to the next thing in the next phase of your life.
And that's excellent points, man. That's what we all go through as ex guys. 10-year vet myself who makes that transition, and
Mhm.
hey, it's nothing for me to run up against somebody that's 6'7", 350 right there in front of me. That's nothing. Okay,
Right,
to
right,
jump out
right,
there and take that risk, but to
right.
parallel that into real life, it is a little bit intrepidating, and that's where some fear actually comes in there. But just like anything else, once you get over it, once you try it, you learn it, you build from there, and you keep it moving. So in building
Mhm.
from there, and all those things that you just all of the experiences that you had, it brought you right back to coaching. You got on that Tigers football shirt right there,
Yeah, yeah,
up there
yeah.
at TSU. So, yeah, talk about those experiences, just how they have got you prepared for where you are right now, and the choice to coach at a HBCU.
Well, yeah. What acting taught me was, one, to learn to tell a story, to tell your truth in imaginary circumstances. But more importantly, the greatest actors on the planet are the ones that listen, and
Mhm.
the art of listening, not waiting to respond, but to listen, and sometimes not to say a word. So in this situation, I had to come in and listen to the players, listen to everyone that was around the program, and to see where the problems were, but also the opportunity. I didn't come in with a whole bunch of declarations. Oh, this is how we got to do to win the championship, and we want to tear this down. I'm gonna change this. Now, some things don't need to be changed. Some things need to be tweaked. Some people need to be removed. And my thing is, I come from a positive, optimistic perspective, and that's how I choose to coach. I'm always going to tell you not what to do, but how to. This is what we do. Here's the standard. We live to the standard. We think outside. No, we eliminate the box on our thinking. There is no box. You know what I'm saying? We operate by faith and not by sight. And faith is broken down to an acronym, and it's focus. Where's your focus on a daily basis? Your attitude, having a positive attitude when you walk through the door. Your intention, setting your intention for the day to get better each and every day. Like today, my intention is to get this team locked in and focused on the minute details of our preparation so we win today. So therefore Saturday will take care of itself. And then trusting the process. Trusting the process. Hey, there is no such thing as losing. We learn. We have to learn, and then we have to grow.
Mhm.
Trusting your teammates, trusting the work that you put in, and then the help. Once you understand the process, are you helping the next man? Are you helping your unit become better? It's not just about you. We talk about 9 units strong, being 9 units strong in November. So those are the things that I brought to the table and that I've learned in this process of really trying to create a program inside and out is developing the culture first and seeing the benefits just flourish throughout that whole process.
Now, again, off the air, before we started, I said this. I said, don't be intimidated by these colors. And you was like, well, what colors are those? All right. So listen. There's some HBCU stuff out here, Eddie. And and I know you may not be as
Well,
well.
well, well, well,
Hey,
well. I know colors they are. I'm teasing you about that. I'm very familiar with FAMU. I'm
hey,
very familiar
hey,
with Jackson.
you
I
know,
know, yeah.
hey, you know how we take it personal down here, baby. And it's homecoming too. Oh yes.
Oh
Oh
no, that was a
yes.
little dig at you. I know exactly. Listen, I have tremendous respect for HBCUs. A lot of guys that have come. Let's first of all, your goat of goats are in the NFL Hall of Fame. Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, hail from an
Yes.
HBCU. All right.
Yes.
Shannon Sharp, Aeneas Williams, the list goes on. Richard Dent, Claude Humphreys. So I'm
Yes.
very well versed in that world. And when you come from an HBCU, you know the product that you're getting because it's tougher. It is tougher coming
Yes.
from these universities because you don't have a ton of resources. You don't have the same things as a PWI, and that's okay. You just learn how to do hard better, and you appreciate things a lot more. And the work ethic is completely different.
Mm.
You're always going. You learn how to grind. You know how to fight through adversity. So I'm very familiar with that brand. I grew up in Philadelphia. The cousins went to HBCUs. I went to Fort King Military Academy. Bunch of my friends went to Howard, Hampton, Virginia State. So every time I had a chance to go on a leave from Fort Union, I would go to their homecomings. And so, it's an honor and a privilege, honestly, to be able to coach here at Tennessee State. Never thought about getting into coaching. Never wanted to deal with the politics of coaching
Oh yeah.
prior to taking the job, but this opportunity really was saying, God, here, I'm gonna take you from the front to the back.
Hmm.
And here's somebody that believes in you. And that was President Dr. Glenda Glover, who presented me with the opportunity. And I pushed it away, and just said, no, I want nothing to do with it. But ever since she asked me to be the head coach, I kept thinking of all the things that I wanted to do or how I could enhance and add value to young men's lives as a football coach. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking down to a curriculum of, understand getting the mindset right, and then financial literacy, and then preparing them for life after the game, and then the
Yes.
strength and conditioning program. And, just all of these things were just
Yes.
going on in my head. And it just pushed me like, man, this is in my heart. And it was something that I felt like if I didn't do this, would I regret it? And that answer was yes. I said, you know what? Let me immerse myself fully into this and give it my best shot. And will ultimately help young men become men and give them the set of tools that I had um, coming up in the business and how it's benefited me in my life, so they can have that transition. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh yes, definitely.
that was, and I had to mature into that. It's funny. I know I'm jumping around, but
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Go
had
ahead.
a conversation with Orlando Pace
Uh-huh.
just recently, this past weekend at Columbus. We were at the game together. We were just sitting back talking. We were
Hmm.
talking about coaching, and I told him, I said, I wasn't prepared 10 years ago to become a head coach or to get into coaching. I had some maturing to do that needed to be developed. I had some
Wait a
things
minute. So
had
you
to.
hold on. Wait a minute. You saying after all of your accolades, all the playing,
Mhm.
everything, all the experiences that you've ever had in your career, you were not prepared to coach 10 years ago. At that
No,
point, you were not prepared to coach when you retired.
no, because I wasn't mature enough
Mm.
to take that on. You know, um, there's some things that had to be developed in me or taken away from me. I had to be shaped and molded into that, and it took a process for me to get to that place, so I can get there mentally, spiritually speaking. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, I just wasn't ready for that. So over that period in time, when I turned I was 47 when I took this job. So
Mm.
47, 48 years old, it I was ready. You know what I'm saying? So God takes you through different career paths, different jobs, different experiences, not for your benefit, but for his benefit. And it's
Mhm.
molding you and shaping you for the next thing. So, and that's how it works. That's how life works. You're not your job. You're
Right.
not just going to be a journalist for forever. And that's who you are. That's what you've done. And you mature into something else, or football player, or a doctor, or whatever profession that you going into, you're finding your purpose and how it impacts others.
Hmm. And like I said earlier, man, you've won just about every award that you can possibly win. But there's always that big one out there. There's always that big one. So, in my opinion, it's your turn. All right.
Ah,
And you
I
get
receive it.
mentioned with your with our guy, another HBCU all-time great, Steve McNair,
Oh,
who was your
yes.
teammate, all those things like that. So talk about that emotion, hearing that name. I'll never be in that situation, but you hearing that name and hearing that opportunity to get that gold jacket.
That was another topic that Orlando and I talked about as well. And you know, um, if I'm deserving, I'm deserving, man. And somebody asked me, "Well, does it make you mad that you're not in yet?" And I said it could, but I refuse to be bitter.
Mm.
I refuse to be bitter and upset about not being in the Hall of Fame. I would be overwhelmed. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't define you. It honors you, and you have an opportunity to honor the people that have helped you get there. You have a chance to relive your playing days and thank those that have helped you. My mother, my father, my sister, my grandmother, my aunts, my uncles, my coaches, teammates, faculty members, teachers, my wife, my children. It's a moment that I can show them on a grand stage. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And
right,
and and man, it would be amazing. It would be amazing for Steve to be recognized, because it's not the numbers, man. And this is the thing. You get so caught up into the stats, and that's just the finger on the body of the whole football life. Is what you
right.
don't see from Monday to Sunday. There were moments, man, where we didn't know Steve was going to play at all. He wouldn't practice the entire week. The year he
Yes.
won the MVP, he didn't practice the entire week. He was in the training room, lived in the training room,
Hmm.
doubled down on his treatments. We'll see him come out 20 minutes before the game out of the dark room where he was taking his nap at the stadiums and perform and carry us on his back. Played hurt, played not feeling appreciated. I've seen this man in tears because of the frustration that he wasn't having the success that people thought he should have had until he truly matured into that. I mean, this it was an amazing football life that he lived. And yes, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Not so much on his numbers, but his grit, his determination, his grind, all the things that we talk about in terms of being a football player. He was that. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh,
and that
yes.
and that deserves to be rewarded. I mean, for the guys that have played with and against Steve McNair, will attest to say, listen, he didn't throw for 50,000 yards. I mean, he could have done that. He could have gone from team to team to build up the
Hmm.
stats to get in to make a claim for it. But
Hmm.
how he played the game, how he sacrificed, how he performed week in and week out, unmatched, completely unmatched.
And a lot of people they just saw the NFL. Okay,
Hmm.
Steve McNair. They don't even know about the air part.
Right.
Okay, and where that manifested from coming out of Alcorn State, and
Yes.
how extreme his numbers were during his career. and him being up for the Heisman. Was that the same year you win the
No,
Heisman? But
it was.
he was
Listen,
what, third in voting or
I a third or second in voting. I remember watching Steve in college.
mm,
Like I said, I was a junior in college, and there was the SI article, Sports Illustrated article that came out with him on the cover, said hand him the Heisman.
yes, yes.
And at that time, we didn't have social media where we can watch highlights, or all I can do is watch highlights on ESPN of this dude. And I was
Mhm.
like, well, first of all, where is Alcorn or Alcorn, or trying to find, it's always Alcorn, it's Alcorn State.
Right.
And where is it? Who is this guy? He is a wizard. He is a beast. And then they tried to question, well, who's his competition? It didn't matter. Dude was back there extending plays, throwing a beautiful ball. It's a warrior. I remember watching him play against Youngstown State in the playoff game
Mhm.
that year, and he knew he was going pro. And what stood out to me was it was in the cold weather. Steve hated cold. In the cold weather in Youngstown, team is not winning. He's hurt. He's still playing the game deep into the fourth quarter because of the love of his teammates
Mhm.
and the respect that he had for his teammates and the respect he had for the game. He could have said, "Nah, I'm not. I'm done. I'm going to protect my own interest." And no, he still played. He played at a very high level. So that alone, what speaks volumes. And the fact that at that particular time, being an African American quarterback was not uh, ideal, so to speak. They
Yes,
weren't
correct,
necessarily looking for African American quarterbacks to lead their teams.
correct.
Um, so he had to go through that stigma. So there's a lot that he had to fight.
Yes.
And he's not the first one. It was Warren Moon before him. There was Evans prior to him.
Hmm.
There were a slew of other quarterbacks, but that was his time and his turn to carry that torch and to lead it in such a way and embrace it in such a way that he knew what that meant for him and for the culture, man. So um yeah, I mean, to me, it's really a no-brainer. If I had a vote, if I had the pen, the power to do that, to push him through, I would, because he
Yeah,
deserves it.
no doubt about it. So I know you mentioned earlier about Baltimore and Ed Block, and if you could, just for the people out here to know that we're not superhuman people. Okay, we actually
Yeah.
have real things that happen to us. Talk about your injury and talk about the process you went through to get back to your
Oh man.
high level of play. Talk about that process because these guys don't know. Like you said, the grind and stuff that you do from Monday to Saturday, okay, gets you to Sunday. So
Yeah.
talk about that out there to our fans that listen.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I played in an era where, first of all, it was very physical and a very physical conference. And we all had played against physical defenses. The Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh twice, Baltimore twice, Cincinnati twice, us twice, Jacksonville twice,
Tough
Cleveland twice.
conference. Tough
It
conference.
was black and blue. And,
Black and
and we
blue.
all and it was a time when the running back position was revered and you were getting the ball
Hmm.
30 and 30 out. So the 2000 season, I was banged up throughout that season. I think from like week 8 on, I was banged up. I separated ribs, a grade 3 sprain on my MCL. And I had a turf toe, which was the biggest culprit that I just couldn't shake. And I wound up having my best year that year. Had 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, something like that. And went to the Pro Bowl. But I was hurt, so I was going to opt out of the Pro Bowl. But I said, man, let me not do that because you never know when you can go. I mean, that's when it was a rite of passage to go to Hawaii, get your lay, your Mai Tais, sitting around the pool, talking, shooting
Oh
shot
yeah.
with the rest of the. I mean, that was a rite of passage, right? So,
Yes.
um, that was it. So I went and I played, and I felt the pop in practice in my foot. I said, man, that interesting. but I didn't think anything of it. My toe was still sore. I got through the game. I came back, had my doctor look at it just to see what was going on. They noticed that my sesamoid bone on my toe was floating in my arch. And they were
Mm.
like, this is not good. He says, you're gonna have to do surgery. I said, what's the process? It's gonna take you 8 to 9 months
Eight to
to
nine
recover.
months.
This is in January.
Oh my gosh.
So you got to go through OTAs, you got to train, you got to get ready for the season.
Right.
So I got the surgery and immediately I started, you know, just the rehab process. Very difficult. Came back that year, did not miss a game. Did not miss a game. Started, played, fought through it. Had a sprained ankle through it also on the same foot. It felt like I was running like on a flat tire. I had a hitch in my gait and had my worst year. I still almost had 1,000 yards that year, but that was a tough year. And then the following year after that, got in optimal shape, went out west, worked with Jerry Rice, and got on the hill and just built myself back up. And I went on to have a 1,200-yard year and I think 12 touchdowns, something like that. Thereafter, and was able to get through it. So the injuries are a big part of the game, and I'm really proud to say that during my career, during my Titan career, I never missed a game due to injury. I started every single game in 8 years. And, one of two players in the history of the game to have rushed for 10,000 yards without missing a start. It's myself and Jim Brown. So that I hold very dear to in terms of my accomplishment to fight through it, to embrace the pain, to manage it, and to really understand my body and to get it ready from Sunday to Sunday.
It's always interesting when I talk to guys and we get into, because Ed Block, gives us the opportunity to talk about other things and get into the injuries and the process. Guys had that same smirk in their face when it was like, man, the rehab, the rehab and getting back and like, wow,
It's daunting, man. It's
it's
tough.
it is a tough thing, and it is also a sense of accomplishment at the
Yeah.
same time. Once you get back and you have gone through all those things and you're able to get back to a high level of play and keep your career going. So speaking of that, you said of being a big back and just to see the modern day game the way it's changed. You know who I'm going to talk about because it damn sure reminds me of you running down the field. I've seen that happen a lot of times, but Derrick Henry and his success and just being a big back period when you see guys like Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders, who kind of been the mold of what running backs are. But like you said, Jim Brown was the biggest running back I'd ever seen in my life. Okay, when I
Mhm.
first met him coming out of college, and then to see you other guys come through. Talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of having that size and speed, and yeah, being a big target in the backfield.
Well, the disadvantage is that, yeah, you're a big target. You know, and we're often volume runners, whereas Emmett and Barry, there's no other player like Barry. I don't think there'll ever be one like Barry
Right.
because of his ability to make people miss. He wasn't going to run you over. You can never get a clean shot on him. You can never touch him. He was literally like a cat out there on the field with agility, ability, balance, vision, all of it. He is the ultimate back. Emmett, same thing. And he was a powerful guy. So for us, for me, I had, I tried to blend that with having the ability to be elusive enough to make you miss, to make you think, but also to be powerful to drop the shoulder on you if I have to. And it became a chess match for me, set them up in the first quarter is to pound them, just pound them, just let them know that this is how it's going to be for 4 quarters. And it's not the first hit, it's gonna be that second and third hit that you're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. And then that's when I'll throw the spin move or make you miss or that opportunity on you. So those were the advantages for me is that when it got late in the third, fourth quarter, I was going to lean on you. That's why I really worked on my conditioning. I prided myself on being the best conditioned athlete on the field, period. So that way that's where I'm at my best. And I'm working on um taking your soul, imposing my will in the fourth quarter and,
That's
and
right.
making you
That's
quit.
right. Right.
That's where it counts. Is that
Exactly.
you talk about Derrick Henry, he's just this. It's a softening process. And it just becomes it's those body blows. You know what I'm saying? Taking away the gas tank. In the boxing, knocks on the headshot is boom to the gut, bang to the liver, pop, kidney shot, boom back to the gut, and then fake that gut shot, then to the head. You know what I'm saying? But those painful body blows over time is duo, is gut, is counter. And you don't want to see a 250-pound man that's running a 4 or 5
You
like
don't.
that consistently. You don't want, let
Nobody.
alone the first, you don't want to see that.
Nobody. They'll say they want to see it, but nobody wants
Right.
to see that, man.
Nah, you don't want to see that.
They don't want to
You
see
don't want to see that for 4 quarters.
that.
So, that was the mentality, man. And Derek is doing it at a high level. It's amazing that he's still, having the career that he's having late in his career.
Mm.
And he's making a very, very strong statement of becoming one of the greatest of all time. And I think, he's putting on that, to me, a Hall of Fame career. It started off slow. He shared the backfield with DeMarco Murray's first year at Tennessee, and then when the show became his, did not look back, did not turn back, and I'm really proud and happy for him.
Well, man, we appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule, okay, to talk to us about your career and everything that you've been going through to get to where you are today. I love that tiger shirt on the front of your jersey and what you're
I gotta
doing
get, I
for
gotta
my
change you
brothers at
those colors, brother.
HBCUs.
I
Hey,
gotta.
man.
Let me ask you
Hey,
this: you went to FAMU?
I went to FAMU, man. I went to
Oh, okay.
FAMU.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Hey,
yes.
listen. Nothing but respect. I knew exactly who you were. I didn't. I don't want you to think that I didn't. I was just teasing you about it. But no, nothing but respect for that program. Man, they've done it year after year, and just to see where that program has been, where it's going, continue to go, has been awesome. Would love to get a home and home with you guys. Well, actually,
Hey,
get back to Atlanta for
yes,
the Classic. So we
that's
got
the
to
one.
try to make that happen at some point in time.
That's the one. Hey, I met a lot of guys. One of my teammates that I actually fought against in that game with FAMU and Tennessee State way back in 80, 89, 90, ended up being my teammate, guy named Anthony Pleasant.
Anthony,
Okay.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
me and AP were teammates in Cleveland, and that's how. Hey, it was going on way back then. You saw those guys that were coming
Yeah,
through the league during that time. So, AP, one of my teammates there, and not too many people knew this, but Robert Porcher started there and
I know.
transferred to South
South
Carolina State.
Carolina State. And,
There
and
you
and the
go.
story goes is that Robert was going through the conditioning test. It was like, you know what? I'm good. So, didn't get on the field. Just the conditioning test. That's
Get them
how
somewhere
hard.
else.
Hey, that's man. Hey, that's how it is, man. We still got the same hills, still got the same track,
It's a little
but
different.
it's a little different. It's a
It's a
different
little different.
mentality, man.
A
I
little
mean, you
different,
gotta
man.
you gotta dig a lot deeper to be successful, and these kids are, man. And it's been an honor to do it.
Hey, man, hey, I'm gonna go talk to Coach about this home and home thing now, but getting to Atlanta again and
There you
get that
go.
going. Okay, FAMU TSU got to get back going. That's always been a flame contest right there. So
Yes,
yes,
it has.
yes, my man.
Yeah.
So for my co-host Dave Steinwater, okay, Dwayne Clemens, all right, my other guy who's a fan, you got Dwayne Brooks, all right, all my
Dwayne
guys who
Brooks.
are not here,
Yes,
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 all my
yes.
guys who's a trainer. Eddie, we appreciate you, man. Coach George, we appreciate you, man. And look, anytime, Baltimore is always open doors for you. All right, come hang out with us. Come to the Ed Block event. We'd love to have you there and hang out with us, man.
Yes, sir.
And definitely share all these stories and have a great time.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Wally. Have a great day, baby.
All right, my man. You too. Thank you.